Hey, how's it going, everyone? I think I'm live now. Cool. So, happy Wednesday. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay, if you guys can see me all right. All that stuff. We're gonna get started on more Tropeo work. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a lot of details that we're going to be working on today. So, as everyone pops in, we'll just get going. And let me know if you have any questions. Glory Wiz, hi, how's it going? Erks, how's it going? Pizza. Hey, how are you? Doing well so far. I forgot it was stream today. Oh, happy birthday, Pizza. That is really cool. I hope you had a good birthday. Did you get to do anything special today, or are you planning on celebrating somehow? It's in the middle of the week, right? So maybe you're doing something later in the week. Yeah, I hope you were able to do something fun. Even if it's just for yourself, you know. I think, what did I do this year for my birthday? The older I get, the more I just don't want to do anything. Don't want to do anything. I think my ideal birthday is a birthday where I can be the laziest I want to be. I think this year what I did, if I remember right, is I didn't do much. I hung out at home, played some video games, ordered in, that sort of thing. Glory Wiz. Let's hope ZBrush has better behavior today. Yeah, I was testing it. I was actually testing it out just before stream, and there's something going on with it. I'm not exactly sure why it's freaking out, but I can't, if I take it's just this mesh. If I subdivide this mesh beyond up to 70 million polys, just this mesh, it crashes the program when I show and hide parts of the mesh. So I have no idea why it's doing it. Maybe there's some weird polygons in the mesh that are screwing with the subdivisions, and it's making it freak out when it gets to higher subdivs. Because I've pushed meshes higher before, and I tested some other meshes, some older meshes that I was working on, that are over 60 million. And it does fine. So I have no idea why it's just this mesh, but I'm gonna have to figure that out and I might have to maybe like re-import the mesh from Blender and then like reproject some of the details and test that and see if it's maybe there's something about this file that's like corrupted or something. I don't know. But we'll take it easy today. We won't push it past 70K. I mean, it's at 17 70 million. I mean, it's at 17 million right now. And as long as that gets us the detail that I want, then that'll be fine. There's always ways to work around that kind of stuff too. Like, if it does still keep giving me trouble, what I can do is break off pieces of the mesh. We did it with the Puru. Like the Purusaurus had the legs and the body separate from each other. And we just bake them together in Substance. So we can still do that, but it's still kind of annoying, you know? I would like to not have to do that, but we'll see. I don't think it'll give me any trouble tonight, though. Pizza. My friend from the Navy spent the day with me in Tulsa, and we ate a lot of pho and bought soju. So I'm gonna chill with some chilled soju. But next Sunday they all are throwing me a party. Oh, okay. You gotta pretend to be. You gotta act surprised. That sounds cool though. And an old friend, I'm guessing, right? Like you've known each other for a while. That's cool. I have some friends visiting me tonight. Actually, their flight lands in a couple hours, so we're gonna go pick them up. These are friends from college. So I met them a long time ago, and been a while since I've seen them in person. I mean, we chat with each other fairly often. But they get to come and hang out with us for a couple of days. So that's going to be fun. We haven't seen them for a while. In person, I mean. Smogsy, hey, how's it going? How am I doing this week? I'm doing okay. This week has been... It's had its ups and downs. My little doggo had some trouble this week. He's getting older, and he's got a health condition that can kind of be scary from time to time. So he just requires a lot of attention, and we had to take him to the vet earlier this week, and it was kind of like a good news, bad news situation, but we're trying to manage, and he seems like he's doing fine now. And yeah, just been kind of busy on the illustration front of things, not necessarily the sculpting side of things. So been pretty busy in regards to my paintings and stuff. There were some important deliveries that needed to be made this week, so little stressful, just a little. But we're good on that front, I think. So I should be able to enjoy my friend's visit and relax. I hope. There's always that chance of like a random email, you know, that you have to like scurry off to like address. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I have to keep an eye out. ERX, I know all of the dinos are in DC, but the Tropeo is the bigger one of the flying ones, or the smaller. There were two smaller ones and one was far bigger. I think you're correct. The Tropeo is like a mid-size pterosaur. I don't know why I wasn't able to think of that word right there for a second, but yeah, it's a mid-sized pterosaur. I think there is definitely one bigger one, an Asdarkid. I can't remember what the smaller ones there are though. Well, it was so weird. Yeah, you're talking about the ZBrush stuff. Yeah, it is very weird. I've had stuff happen like that in the past too. Like, what happened? Like, I was baking out, like normal maps and displacement maps and stuff for this one mesh I was working on, and for some reason, this mesh had this like crease in the maps that I just could not get rid of. But then I swapped out the mesh. Technically it was the exact same mesh, it was just a different import. And then I did the whole process over again and it was totally fine. So I have no idea what the heck happens sometimes in ZBrush. -1, thanks so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Hello, Minus here. One more time, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty well. The customary -1 introduction. Can't have a stream with that one. And we wouldn't want it any other way, really. But thanks, -1. Yeah, I'm doing fine. How have you been? Good to see you. Good to see you. How's the Tropeo coming along? Pretty well. We had some hiccups last stream because ZBrush was being pretty annoying and wanted to crash. But I think I kind of figured out what's going on, or I figured out what triggers it. So I'm going to avoid that. And tonight we're just going to detail. Just get more and more detail pumped into this guy. Furious. Tapajara is the other main smaller one. Then Nemicalopterus is AI to start, then playable. Nemicalopterus, what is that? I don't think I've heard that. Hello. Hey, can you guys see me, hear me? It fixed. Oh my gosh. All right. So let me see what's going on. I don't have music and I don't have ZBrush. Let me try and open things up like one at a time and see what's going on here. Sorry guys, it kind of sucks. I having technical difficulties 2 streams in a row. We'll see how it goes. If it does it again, I might just have to call it and be like try to figure it out what's going on, and then see if it see if we can pick back up. I don't know, Saturday maybe, or maybe I can do another stream on like Thursday or Friday to make up for it. I don't know. I wonder if it was the music. If it was like the VLC media player screwing with stuff. Because it was weird. Like all I did was I was going to look up that pterosaur name, and I kind of like flicked my mouse to a different screen, and then it just freaked out. I'm kind of afraid to open up the music now. Okay. So it looks like we're doing all right. Maybe. I can move the Tropeo around. All right. I hope. Let me see if I can get the music going again. I don't know if it's entirely necessary. Or if I'm just like tempting fate right now. What if it is the VLC media player doing weird stuff? It's never done anything bad before. We'll see. Okay, we got music. And now I'm just not going to touch anything else. I want to look up that pterosaur, but we're just not going to do it. Okay. All right. Get back on it. We'll get back on the horse. Anyway, as we were saying, what were we talking about before I was rudely interrupted by technical difficulties? Thanks, guys. Thanks, pizza. YouTube, Twitch streaming be rough sometimes. It can be. It's just like extra nerve-wracking, like a little bit, right? Like, because it's like my computer can screw up on me all day if it wants to, and like I at least have time to fix it, you know? But when it's on stream, it's like, oh man, there's people waiting. So it's a little bit rougher, but you can only do so much. And I know you guys get that. So thank you for your patience. What was I doing? I think I was just working on like random wrinkles and stuff. I was working around here. Tropeo looking good, thank you. Tropeo has really come far. Looks amazing, thanks. Yeah, I suppose it has, right? Like, we've got quite a bit of detail in there now. We'll pump some more in, especially like in this area here. I want to get even more detail in the beak. Detail in the hands and feet. Where else? I mean, the wings need some love. I don't know if I like this matte cap for this. It's cool. I really like the oxide matte cap, but depending on the surface, like the flat surface of the wing, it'll really just like blow out details. So I can't really use it for that. So I have to switch out stuff. Get back on the old trophy. Oh, yeah. Smog Z. Oh, yeah. The mad panic to get everything back up and running and try and troubleshoot. Yeah, for sure. I love the chipped look of the beak so far. Thanks. Yeah, I really want to go for that like layered, sort of like... If you look at cassowaries and marabou storks have that as well too. Like they've got a lot of wear and tear on their beaks and their like casques, the crests on their head. So I want to get that sort of like flaky, sort of layered appearance. I think it'll look cool. And then maybe if there's room for it to add like a little dimension, you can maybe do some like little extra details on here. Like some of these flakes could be like peeling off, but I don't know if it's worth wasting like cards on that area to get that effect to look right. We might just it might be better just to dedicate like all the card work to the fuzz, the feather stuff, and then just leave the keratin detail to the surface. Yeah, the roughed up edges make it feel more alive. Yeah, I really like doing that to dinos and just like all my sculpts in general. I think there is this tendency in paleo art to like show like the perfect specimen of something. I think more and more people are starting to move away from that though, but I don't really want to show like a perfect, like, I think adding like scars and like little dings and scratches and stuff to the animal here and there. It doesn't need to be like overly done, but just here and there can really help make it feel like a real animal, you know? Because if you look at a lot of like wildlife photography, and it's not always like super overt, but you can see like people will take pictures of like a lion or something, and overall the lion can look like in pretty good health, but here and there you'll see like little nicks on the nose, little patches of fur that are like a little bit more irregular than other areas. Like they're not perfect, you know. to trying to get that in here just a little bit is nice. Would be cool if it got rougher the older the dino is. That would be awesome. I don't know how we would make that work. It seems like it could get very complicated, but that would be really cool if there was some way to do it, but I have no idea how I would even. I don't know how that stuff gets implemented. You could probably maybe like transition between textures as the animal gets older, but then you would have to have like multiple texture sets for a single animal. I don't know how that is managed. Furious would know much more about that than I would. Cassowaries are scary birds. Yes, they are. Yeah. Well, scary. Yeah, they are pretty dangerous, right? So I had when I was living in Denver, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science had a overnight, like a night course. It was a night course that was focused on comparative anatomy, and I took that course. So every evening for a while, I would go over to the Museum of Nature and Science and spend a few hours there, learning about pretty much like comparative anatomy for pretty much vertebrate comparative anatomy. But my instructor, was a expert on ratites. Ratites are the type of bird that they're flightless birds, so that like ostriches, emus, rheas, cassowaries. And he was telling us some stories about a pair of cassowaries that he had to he was a caretaker at it wasn't like a zoo, it was like a sanctuary of some sort, but he took care of a pair of cassowaries. One of the cassowaries was named I'm forgetting the name now. It's one of the names of of a character from Resident Evil. It's that big guy. He's got like a skeletal face. He's wearing like a trench coat. Anybody know what I'm talking about? It's not Mr. X. It's the other one. It's like a big ultimate weapon for Umbrella. Nemesis. That's the name. So he had this cassowary named Nemesis. And he was telling us a few stories about like what it was like to keep the cassowaries and like have to go in their enclosure and maintain their enclosure and stuff. He was telling us about one time being in the enclosure, you always had to go in pairs because the cassowaries would try to distract you. So like if you were going in there by yourself, one of the cassowaries would try to distract your vision, while the other one would come from the side or somewhere behind you and try to kick you. So they're very smart. Like they know how to coordinate with each other. Like I think there's like that's a full-on scene from Jurassic Park, basically, right? Like they know how to like they know how to set a trap, basically. Sylphia sent 20 Echoes of Extinction gift memberships. Wow. That is so cool. Thank you so much. Everyone receives a gift membership. Wow. That is awesome. Lil Sypha. Thank you. Sorry if I messed up your name initially. Yeah, thank you for the gifted memberships. That's awesome of you. I have not seen so many notifications go up in chat like that since I started streaming. That's crazy. But yeah, so they know how to set traps. So they have to go. My instructor has, and whoever else was helping him take care of the cassowaries. They had to go in pairs all the time, so that way they wouldn't get ambushed. And then he was telling me another story. They used to give tours of these like sanctuary, you know, the enclosures, and of course they had to give tours of the cassowary enclosure because cassowaries are awesome and they look great and people like to see them. But he was talking about how normally they'd go in front of the cassowary enclosure, and it's got like this chain link fence, right? And he would stand in front of the chain link and he would start talking about, well, these are cassowaries, and this is, you know, he'd give them the visitors the rundown of like what a cassowary is and why they're special and all this cool stuff. And this particular time, he had gotten a little too close to the chain link, and Nemesis was pretty smart. He like slowly came up behind my friend Todd, who's the instructor. He slowly came up behind Todd and just ever so like slowly stuck. So cassowaries have that big toe claw. He ever so slowly stuck that big toe claw in between the chain link. And my friend Todd was just close enough that his calf was like up against the chain link, and the cassowary got his big claw in between the chain link and was able to give him a nice gouge while he was talking to everybody. And I guess Todd learned a lesson not to get close to the chain link at all that day. So they're something. Those guys, those cassowaries, or maybe it was just this particular cassowary, but it just really shows how smart and clever they are. Dangerous too. You got to respect those big birds. Honestly, I could never hate my job in that kind of work. I got to experience something small like that with the kangaroos. That was the happiest moment of my life. No, I think like Todd really dug that job. Like he loves working with cassowaries till this day. He's he is an expert, I would say, in that field. He has like videos of himself like kind of wrangling cassowaries because they gotta like check them out and like study them and stuff. So he loves it. Like when he was telling us those stories, like you can tell like they were crazy stories, but he loved it, like being being harassed by a cassowary. Like who gets to tell the stories like that, right? But yeah, I think I would like that type of work as well if I weren't an artist, It'd be cool to go on like a little, I don't know, maybe like a little safari or something. Something like educational where I could study and draw some of these animals that I've, observed and wanted to learn about for so long. Let's see, Spogsy. Hey, Rar, have you seen the progress of the Kickstarter? Almost halfway there. Yes, I have. I've been actually like checking up on it pretty much every day, just to see like how things are going. And yeah, it's. I mean, well, I wrote it down. It's 32K. So yeah, over. Or was it? Yeah, that's what I wrote down here. So yeah, that's a ton, right? And we still got 15 days to go, if I remember right. Yeah, it's exciting. 47%. That's right. Okay. Violence isn't a choice for Nemesis, it's a way of life. That's me every morning upon opening my eyes until I'm caffeinated. Animals with that attitude, yes. Yeah, animals with personality and attitude are awesome. They make life interesting. Yeah, that's awesome, Smugsy. I am very excited about the prospect of Kickstarter being completed, You ever see the videos of the baby hippos? Those little dudes are so adorable and full of sass. Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen a few videos of those. Sass is definitely the right word. The way they care for hippos, especially because the baby hippos that they were caring for, those are like some kind of pygmy species, right? Like a pygmy hippo, or is that actually like a normal African hippo? I wasn't sure. They are super cute though. But yeah, that seeing people care for the larger animals like that, like hippos, rhinos, elephants, even like the cassowaries and stuff like that. It always makes me think of like, I always think of Jurassic Park, you know, like I always think like if a dinosaur were still alive today, would we care for them in that like that kind of way? Like, because you think of Jurassic Park and they have all these like huge like electrified fences and like big like metal bars and like cages and stuff like that, and I don't know if that would actually be necessary if you had a dino. I guess it depending, you know. But I think a lot of the practices we have in zookeeping today would probably still work on even some of the fairly large dinosaurs. It'd be interesting to talk to someone who actually designs like zoo enclosures and just like have a hypothetical like discussion with them, you know, like like if you needed to design an enclosure for a triceratops, what would you have to do to make sure that it was safe and big enough and all that stuff? Like, would it be like a Jurassic Park, like thick old bars and cages, or would you be able to actually make it look nice, you know? Sassy baby animals are so adorable. Pygmy hippo babies are the cutest. The last one I watched, the hippo refused to move or anything from its spot. When she finally moved, it gave the side look. Yeah. I think one of the pygmy hippo calves I watched most was called Mars. Okay. Mars. Yeah, so I'm doing all this like striation stuff here. I'm probably going to tone these down a little bit. I do want some sort of texture on the wings. They do have these fibers that run. You can see them in some fossils. They're actually preserved. These stiffening fibers that run through the wing membrane. That run, what would this be, like parallel to the wing membrane. So I'm trying to get those indicated here. I'm not actually sure if you would see those on the external anatomy, because it would be covered by, you know, layers of skin and stuff like that. But some sort of flow here is what I'm going for, and we'll do some other like skin texture stuff on top of this, but. I want to make sure I have at least some suggestion of that structure. So I'm taking my time to get that in here. And we might do, just to speed the process up just a little bit, I might do like I might make a quick alpha. That way I can, because I've done that side, right? But I got to do this side. So that if I got to do both sides, it might take forever. So we'll see if I can speed it up by making like a custom alpha real quick and see if I can drag the detail out. I heard one baby hippo went viral, so people went to the zoo only for the hippo. They started to annoy him for for views. Yeah, that could be like the downside of it, right? Like people go over there and start like making a ruckus around the enclosure, and then the animals can't like relax. Some attention to this hand here. These forms here in the arm are kind of delicate. Like I can easily mess them up if I'm too heavy-handed with the details I'm putting on top of them. So I don't know. I don't want to like. I'm trying to preserve what I've done before and then like build on top. It can be kind of be a challenge. Sometimes there's a little bit of back and forth. Seeing the muscles on the Tropea makes you want some chicken wings. They do have that kind of like rotisserie chicken sort of look, right? Yeah, the muscles on pterosaurs are pretty interesting. It's really it's pretty cool to compare them to birds and like see. I was watching and reading a bit about one of the reasons why pterosaurs are able to get so big and still fly is because they actually doubled up on their propulsion like mechanism. So the same muscles and stuff that they use to lift off of the ground are the same muscles that they use to fly. So they can kind of like invest more muscle mass in the same structure and do like double duty, which allows them to get much bigger. Their wingspan can get a lot bigger. Whereas birds have split their propulsive, like they jump with their legs. They force themselves off the ground with their legs. So their legs have to be pretty strong. And they fly with their arms. So those have to be definitely pretty strong to keep them up in the air. So you're kind of dividing your resources across two separate structures, which is a little bit less efficient. So they have a much harsher size limit to them because you can only get so big. You can only get so big before your muscle mass starts to hinder it becomes so heavy that it starts to prevent you from flying. One of the interesting things was thinking about bats in the same way, because bats actually do the same thing that pterosaurs do, is they lift off with their wings, not their hind legs. So in theory, I think it was some scientist, can't remember what his name was. He was talking about how, like, in theory, if bats weren't like, they're like outcompeted in their niche, right? Because birds dominate the daytime, basically. If for some reason birds were like to disappear, like a mass extinction or something, leaving bats to take over those niches, theoretically they could get even bigger than birds. So that was an interesting thing to think about. Brings up a lot of like cool. I think they actually did that in The Future is Wild. You guys have ever watched that documentary? Gibbo, this is my first time tuning in. This is so cool. I'm very excited for this game to come out. Hopefully by then I'll have a PC to play it on. Oh yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I hope it all works out for you and you're able to play the game. Wish you a lot of luck on your PC build. If you are building a PC. That would make for very interesting evolution variants for bats. Yeah, definitely. I think actually, you guys know who Dougal Dixon is? I think that might have been an angle that he took as well, where he made like bats evolve in diurnal niches like birds, and he kind of went really crazy with those. I might have his book. Hold on. It must be on a different shelf, because it's kind of an older book, and I found it sort of on accident at one of the there's a big bookstore in Portland. It's called Powell's, and they sell new and used books. But every now and then, like if you go into their used book section, you can find some older, like more rare things. And I was able to find one of those books there. So I was pretty happy about that. But yeah, I have it on a different shelf that's off the ground because my little dog will try to chew through the book binding. Thanks. I do plan on building one. I'm just working on saving the money to do so. Yeah, for sure. It's getting expensive. I was I don't know if I talked about this before, but I was planning on making doing another computer build. I mean, my computer, it does well. But I was thinking about making another one. Because you could always upgrade to something, you know. But it looks like I'm gonna have to wait for a while, considering RAM prices and stuff like that. I think my computer is so I built this in 2022 ish. So it's not like super old. Or maybe no, it might be a little bit older. Because I remember when I was buying my graphics card, graphics cards were like really expensive for a while because of COVID. There was like a shortage or something, so it was making like graphics cards price and like all the scalping that people were doing. It was making graphics cards prices really crazy. So I did actually, like, I got kind of screwed on graphics card costs. I think I paid a lot more than MSRP for my graphics card. Planning on finding deals on eBay and Facebook. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, that would be the way to do it. Gonna pop chat out and move it over here to the left hand. I like chat being on the left side of my screen for some reason. I was scared to move anything again and have the stream die, but I think we're fine. So we got all of that texture on these wings here. Let's see. This is kind of a trick I learned from watching, I think it was a ZBrush Central ZBrush every year has their like ZBrush Expo thing. I forget what the heck it's called. Where they show like all the latest stuff that ZBrush is doing, and they have a bunch of like guest speakers and things like that. And one of the videos that they were streaming, or they have on their website now, is some of the sculptors that worked on Monster Hunter World. And there was it's all in Japanese, so, and I don't think they have a translation, but I can still kind of piece together what they're doing just because I'm so familiar with ZBrush stuff. But I was able to like glean a bit of what their process was. It was pretty cool because he was the sculptor on the video was sculpting Fatalis. And Fatalis, for those of you who don't know, is like the end boss for Monster Hunter World. It was a very, very hard monster to kill. But they were showing this sculpting process, and they were showing this technique that I'm using right now. Which is, you're basically grabbing your own details from your model and creating textures from it. Creating reusable textures from your own mesh. But you need a couple of things, and I'm trying to set that up right now. You need UVs on a mesh. So I'm trying to get the UVs on this plane. On this plane here, let's see. We are going to paste the UVs onto. So now this mesh should have UVs. And then what you do, make sure this is covering the details that you want. And then use the project tool. And project the detail onto that plane. And then what I should have is this little like representation of the detail here. And then what I will be able to do, I should be able to, what is it? Is it a displacement? Yeah, I think it's a displacement map. So I take this down, create a displacement. See that right there? Clone. I think it was a displacement map. I have to go back and rewatch it, but regardless, this should work for my purposes here. And then this becomes the alpha that we will use to drag out more of that detail onto the mesh. And we can do like some modifications to it. Modifier. We want the alpha. Jason Tropio looking good. Can't wait for a flyable playable. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm excited for Tropio. I'm excited for everything. I keep saying that, but I really am. Like, flying is going to be a lot of fun. Swimming is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, what people are playing around with the Arano and the Eocarcharia already looks like a lot of fun. Let me see. Do I want I don't know. I want radial fade. There we go. Let's see. That works, but it's too intense. So I'll take this. Go to backface masking. Gibbo, the plus side is that I just got my first job recently. I'm 16, and without having to pay any mortgage, insurance, etc., it shouldn't be too hard for me to afford everything. Still gonna take a bit though. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Well, congratulations on getting your first job. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad with that taken into consideration, right? So I hope all goes well for you. It's exciting, right? Like, like I used to be very intimidated by computers, and like the idea of having to build my own computer it felt very overwhelming. And I did avoid it for the longest time. Like I had friends who were very like tech savvy and helped me out. Like a couple of my friends from college helped me build my first computer. And I tried to learn how to do it, but they kind of like mostly did it for me. And then I moved out here, and my friends were super far away, so they couldn't really, like, they could provide recommendations for me, like what I could get and what I could do, but they couldn't do it for me, right? So I had to really learn how to get all that stuff going. But it's actually not too bad. I mean, there is a lot to consider and think about, but it's not too bad. I'm not afraid of it, at least, not anymore. It's just whether I'm up for the challenge, It does take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and like researching the components you want, making sure they're compatible with each other. I made a mistake on my last build. My graphics card that I spent too much money on. So I bought the graphics card, it arrived, tried to fit it in the case, and the graphics card was too big for the case I had. So I had to get a completely different case. It's an open plan, it's like open to the air. It's not enclosed. Because I just didn't want to deal with like clearance issues, so I was just like, just leave it open. So that's what I have here. I kind of like that. It's you can see all the components inside. I like that sort of aesthetic. I think the next PC that I build is also going to use a similar like open case. So I got to make sure that the details that I'm putting on this underside are like the same size of the details that I put on the top. I've done a lot of research in building and computer parts, so I'm not too worried despite not having any experience. We'll see how it goes, though. Oh, I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah, I think the only thing you'd have to worry about that I kind of worry about is just getting like, because sometimes you do get like bad parts, you know, like sometimes like a connection will be like faulty, or like you'll get like a bad stick of RAM, something, you know, something dumb like that, you know, and then you got to go through all the troubleshooting to like figure it out exactly what it is, and then send it back and wait for a replacement, like all that stuff. That's the only thing that kind of not worries me, but like I cross my fingers, you know, that it doesn't happen. But usually it's fine. I think I'm actually making my markings too small. I think I can actually go bigger. Let's see. What do I want to do? Take down the intensity and then blur this out just a little bit. Exactly, Gibbo, yeah. But yeah, I love my PC. Lets me work, right? And then I get to play some cool games. So I really enjoy the time and effort spent into like doing it all, right? Really paid off, I think. Like the PC pays for itself, basically. All that money that I spent on the parts and stuff, it's more than paid for itself already. So I don't know if you're like gonna do any like work from your computer, but that's another, you know, justifiable reason to make a PC for yourself. So I like the texture. I need to translate some of the texture. So like this texture here is a little bit more developed because it had like multiple layers of previous textures to build on. If you just look at the texture on its own like this, it kind of looks a little flat. So I want to make sure that I don't want it to feel flat. I want it to feel nice and layered. Complex. So I'm gonna have to go back in and do some other wrinkly sort of detail stuff. But you know, it did help me get a good chunk of that detail in there. So I actually need to save I need to save that alpha out. I'm trying to get in the habit because I make a lot of resources for myself. Like I have all of these kind of scale textures and scoots and spikes and spines and teeth, and sometimes I forget to like save that out because I can use that later. I need to remember to like put that in my resources folder so I can use it in the future if I'm happy with it, which I think this worked out well. So I should probably be able to use that one later on a different pterosaur, I do plan on eventually trying to stream, make content creation, most likely on this very game. Oh, nice. Okay, so you plan on streaming Echoes. Cool. I love games like this because as much as I love dinosaurs, I admit I don't know very much about them. And just games like this one really does help me learn more about them. Yeah. There is an element of edutainment, right? Learning about what an Eocarcharia is or what a Rhinoceros is. There is value in that too. Oh man, I didn't have backface masking on my brush, and now the mesh got pinched up here in this front part. I don't know why ZBrush doesn't have backface masking on by default. I've never ever run into a situation where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad backface masking was off, If I ever get a chance to talk to like any ZBrush dev, I'm going to ask them that question. Okay. Humidrum backface masking doesn't work well with some brushes like the move brush. Okay, so like, give me 1 second. The move brush. So if I turn back face masking on, I mean, that is an interesting, that's an interesting result. I don't think I see what you mean. I don't think I've ever needed backface masking with the move brush though? Because usually, like at least for me, when I'm using a move brush, it's usually at the very early stages of a mesh, and like I'm using it like big, right? Like I want to move big parts of the mesh like together. I don't know. It's. I just kind of I don't really know why they. Because you could still have the move brush without this enabled, right? But then why can't they just enable backface masking for the other ones? You know? I don't know. I'm sure they have some reason. I'm not aware of. But it does it does give me a headache from time to time, you know. This area here, I need to kind of tone down. I really like the way the top of the wing looks so far, so I need to really try to match that. Let's see, what did I do? What was I using before? I was using wrinkle roller. We got backface on. We'll do a little bit of this back here. Just like following the contours. A little bit of the like vertical lines, but mostly kind of cross hatching stuff. Okay. And then there was another. So I have this alpha. I used. There's so many I don't know. It's about how ZBrush works. It's a mess. Like Dynamish, why can't I ever go past 4.096 million? Scaling does nothing most of the time, whereas Nomads can Dynamish. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I do need to get into Nomad. I have it. I have it on my iPad and I have it on PC too. I need to try it out more. But I did not know that. I mean, you know, it seems like you know more about the details of ZBrush than I do. From like a technical standpoint. Yeah, that's interesting though. I did not know that Nomad could dynamesh that high. And it is weird, right? Like, I mean, I love ZBrush, but yeah, it has its little quirks and weird stuff that it does. You just kind of like get used to it, I guess. Then when you move to another software that does like, it's definitely eye-opening. It's like, well, you know, there are probably better ways to do things. Maybe they're considering more of that now because there are like more direct competitors with ZBrush now. Like Blender's getting very good. You have Nomad, of course. So I'm interested to see if they're gonna like try to adapt. I kind of think they already are starting to do that because like they're trying to incorporate more retopology tools. Like I saw them put a big emphasis on topology stuff. They have a pretty good chunk of that stuff on their YouTube channel right now. I haven't tried it. And then they have the like the UI like overhaul that they're doing. I don't know if that's going to come to desktop or if that's more like a tablet thing. But it did look kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm like going to be an adopter of that because I don't really want to learn a whole new UI for something I already learned, you know. But we'll see. That's feeling a lot better. Like the incorporating that crisscrossy pattern into the wing membrane is feeling better. I gotta double check. Let's turn his teeth on because he's got like, there we go. So there are in pterosaurs, there are there are air sacs in the wings. I think they lie somewhere around here. But I need to figure out like how extensive they are, or people think that they are. Because it's going to change the form of the wing a lot. I think the purpose of the wing membrane, like the wing air sacs, is to even out the flow of air across the top of the wing. So that way it's not like this weird like undulating shape, right? Because if you look at the wing in cross section. Let me. No, don't save now. There we go. If you look at the wing and cross section, it would be like this weird, like swoop, you know. If you think about how airplane wings work, they're much and bird wings, they're much smoother, like curve. So I think that was probably the thoughts behind why these air sacs exist. But I need to double check on the structure a little bit more. So this area here, where you're seeing the leading, like the back edge of the arm, might soften up a bit more. Thanks so much, those Sypha. I go to sleep. See you at -1. Have a good night. See you tomorrow in the game. I think Maxon shot themselves in the foot with the subscription fees. Glad I have Perpetual. I get it when it comes to sustaining their business, but I don't think I get my money's worth. Yeah, I would agree. I do have the subscription. I have my Perpetual license too. And I'm thinking about just not doing it, you know. I mean, I having experienced like their newer versions and like seeing like what I actually utilize from those newer versions, it's not a ton. So it might just make more sense for me to go back to the Perpetual. Yeah, I don't like subscription based stuff in any software really. So whenever I have the chance to just buy it outright and just have it, I much prefer that. It seems like a lot of software is going subscription based, which is really dumb. But like, I mean, some of it I have to use because it's for work, you know. But if I'm not working on like work stuff, then I'm not using it, you know. Like Photoshop, I don't really use Photoshop anymore unless it's for my main illustration job. I use Clip Studio Paint or any other, like I have Rebel, I have Krita, I have all those alternative softwares that I think work really well. ZBrush, I haven't found. I mean, I need to try. Like I said, I need to try Nomad. I need to try to sculpt in Blender and see how I like it. Because it might be really nice, you know. But I haven't had a chance to dive in. Oh, yeah, that's right. Himadrum would gladly pay for DLCs for ZBrush if that was worth it. Yeah. Yeah, that's like, even if it was just like a little, like I'd pay like, I don't know, $30 sort of fee to upgrade like little bits of ZBrush, you know, here and there, depending on what they've added. Like if you kind of treated it like DLC for a game kind of thing. But I mean, at least ZBrush still definitely has like artists in mind, right? as far as like Photoshop goes, like I don't really think they've done an update that has any relevance to painters, concept artists in like a long time. Like I can't remember the last time I heard anything that Photoshop was doing that was like specifically targeting like people that paint, people that draw. It's been a long time, I think. The only new thing I want is the arc brush for my paleo models when I pose them. The arc brush. What is the arc brush? Is that in here? Is that these? I don't think I've heard of that. If it helps with posing, it sounds like a cool tool. Anchors, I mean. Okay, so those were the anchor brushes. Okay. I'd have to look into that. That sounds interesting. Like if you're using it with like they were using it with like transpose and stuff to get good poses. Okay. Say you want to bend the neck or tail smoothly, that's where anchors come in handy. Ah, okay. Yeah, that does sound really useful. I'll try it. Thanks for mentioning it. I'll give it a try. See how it works. Let's see. How did we do? We had a couple setbacks with the stream tonight, but I'm glad I was able to get going here again. And we only have a few more minutes left before I have to head towards the airport to pick up my friends. So really quickly, let's see if I have any announcement-y things. Saturday stream should still be good. Saturday morning, I'll be streaming Tropeo again. We should be good to go on that. For those of you who are interested, I am going to be starting my stream on my YouTube channel. It's going to be focused mainly on creature designs, stuff that I've been kind of putting aside for quite a while, personal projects, things like that. The whole purpose of me starting it up is to focus on personal projects and kind of start working through all of those and like getting them finished and up online for people to see. So that will be happening. I want to get it started before the end of the month. So I have maybe a couple of weeks. So if you're interested in that, I have the link to my YouTube channel in the description. If you are interested in following me on other social media, those links are also in there. I think, I don't know how things are going to go in the next, few months. I don't know how I feel about Twitter and Instagram and like the whole deal that they have going with AI and all that wacky stuff. So I think for now, I might just focus more of my energy on Blue Sky. So I'm thinking that when I do launch the stream and figure out a time and stuff like that, I'm going to make announcements on Blue Sky of like, hey, everybody going live here. Come check stuff out. That's what I'll be doing there. So if you guys want like updates on stuff like that, I should have also a link to my Blue Sky in the description. So I'm hoping that goes well. I'm hoping it's a worthwhile thing to do. I feel like it will be, just from the simple fact that it lets me like focus in on my personal stuff, because I feel like that's pretty important. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining me tonight. Sorry for the little hiccups that we had there. I'm gonna try to figure out what happened. I have no idea what happened to the stream tonight. But thanks for sticking around and being patient with me and hopping back in. If you did hop back in to watch, really appreciate it. Humidrum. I definitely watch your personal streams and sculpt along. Awesome. That's totally the purpose of it too. Like for those of you who are also artists in chat, and I'm sure I don't know. I feel like a good chunk of artists have the similar problems. Like we kind of set aside our personal projects and we work on like client stuff, and if you want to like sculpt along and like focus on your personal projects while you're working alongside me, that's great. That's totally what the stream, I hope the stream kind of becomes, and I hope that's what people use it for. So it would really be great. So yeah, thanks everybody. I'm gonna head out because I gotta go make sure my friends are have a ride from the airport and they're not stranded. So I will see you guys on Saturday. More Tropeo on Saturday. Thank you. Working hard. Sub to your YouTube channel. Thanks. Thanks so much, Gibbo. Have a good night. See ya, everyone.